Man, what a day with Trump 2.0. A judge has issued a stay to temporarily block the administration's proposed federal spending freeze. Chris Graham here, Augusta Free Press. So, yeah, a federal judge has granted a stay that will delay the implementation of the Trump administration's plan to freeze trillions of dollars in already congressionally approved federal spending. Judge Lauren Ali Khan, a Joe Biden appointee to the D.C. Circuit, wrote in her brief order that, quote, there is a specter of irreparable harm from the Trump plan, which had been set to go into effect at 5 p.m. today. It's 7 o'clock as I'm recording this. The judge has set a hearing in this case for February 3rd, which is next Monday. Now, the Trump administration is attempting to, here's a quote, long quote, temporarily pause all activities related to obligation or disbursement of all federal financial assistance and other relevant agency activities that may be implicated by the executive orders, including but not limited to financial assistance for foreign aid, non-governmental organizations, DEI, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. Sorry to laugh there. That's what this is all about. It's about trying to decide, okay, the Congress has already approved what the Constitution says Congress directs spending. Congress has already approved spending for these various projects, and Trump just doesn't want to spend the money. The order is putting everything from domestic violence programs to Meals on Wheels, from homeless shelters to suicide hotlines, even hospitals at risk of having to shut down. According to Diane Yentel, the president and CEO of the National Council on Nonprofits, this order is a potential five-alarm fire for nonprofits and people in the communities they serve. Oh my goodness. Mark Warner, U.S. Senator from Virginia, said today his Senate office got a phone call from a domestic violence shelter serving multiple counties in Virginia that, quote, may have to close their doors if President Trump doesn't reverse course on this pause. Now, again, the judge has issued an order pausing the pause until next week. Don't know where things will go from there. This is a district court order, by the way. There will be an appeals court. There will be a Supreme Court weighing in on this, hopefully soon, sooner rather than later. Trump is following that Project 2025 script that his people were able to convince the mainstream media was just Trump derangement syndrome writ large. He had his budget office put a halt to trillions of dollars in government spending, and it's all about ideology. This is amazing. Trump is throwing his weight around like it's Ronald Reagan 1984 all over again. But you got to remember, he won the presidential election by just 1.5 points. This was the fifth closest presidential election margin in history. Close election. He has the tiniest of majorities in Congress. If two Republicans in the House decide to vote the other way, he loses his majority. It only takes four senators to do so. This is not a mandate, but he's acting like he's got a mandate. Um, you wouldn't read mandate lack of mandate into this memo where he's cutting everybody off here. Warner and Kaine, Tim Kaine, I should say, the U.S. Senator from Virginia, issued a joint statement blasting the reckless and illegal order, what they called a reckless and illegal order. It's not much, but it's all they can do. Quote, whether it's Helene recovery in Southwest, semiconductor manufacturing in Northern Virginia, pharmaceutical jobs in Richmond, renewable energy in coastal Virginia, or the microporous expansion in Southside, every one of these projects is in part the result of federal funding from laws we fought tooth and nail to pass in Congress and can now be endangered thanks to President Trump's mess. Um, the joint statement has the value of a proverbial warm pitcher of spit, but what else can they do? The 2026 midterms are an eternity away at this stage. I mean, it's so far off, but that's the only thing that can be done. I'm going to suggest here that Democratic governors in some places in some states where there are swing district Republicans who could be vulnerable, maybe you target them with a cushy appointment to open up those seats, or maybe just have the money Democrats throw money at them to either quit or switch sides. I mean, and don't send me a note about being undemocratic when I suggest that. Nothing about Trump 2.0 is remotely democratic. Um, the Senate Republicans, according to the House Budget Committee ranking Democrat Brendan Boyle from Pennsylvania, they're rushing to confirm Russell Vought as the OMB director, OMB being the Office of Management and Budget. This guy Vaught has repeatedly promoted, this is a statement from Boyle, repeatedly promoted radical unconstitutional theories suggesting the president can unlawfully withhold funding already approved by Congress. This is the same playbook they've used before. We know exactly where it leads. Flagrant violations of the law and blatant disregard for Congress's constitutional authority over federal spending. It's basic, it's cut and dried. Even the Trump Supreme Court is going to have to ultimately agree. The president can't just not spend money that has already been appropriated by Congress. Can't do it. Can't not do it, whatever you want to say. Let me be clear, Boyle said. Congress holds the power of the purse. Much of the funding of the administration seeks to pause was approved on a bipartisan basis. Distributing this funding to the American people is a legal requirement. For another sense of where this is going to go or could go, we got a statement for the Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association. Here's part of the statement. VHHA has been informed that reimbursement for work performed under federal healthcare grants has been suspended, and we have received mixed responses regarding the suspension of Medicaid reimbursements for patient care. The VHHA members include 26 health systems, 111 community psychiatric rehabilitation and specialty hospitals throughout Virginia. This is pretty much everybody in Virginia, and they're saying that reimbursement for work performed under federal healthcare grants has been suspended, and they don't even know if they're going to get reimbursed from Medicaid. This is going to have dramatic, disastrous effects on hospitals in Virginia. According to the VHHA statement, the impact in a healthcare statement includes quote, many federally funded programs across a spectrum of public and community health, as well as mental health, substance abuse treatment services, among others, that are administered by the private sector and nonprofit organizations, which provide real value and benefit to help people improve their lives and well being. While the extent of the implications of this federal directive are still being determined, VHHA intends to work with federal stakeholders to assess the potential programmatic and financial impacts of this federal action. This is nonsense. If you voted for it and you're watching this, congratulations. You have upset the apple cart. You've gotten what you wanted. This country is in chaos. It's ridiculous, and it's got to stop.